Alright. Hello. It is I, Brandon, the Starseed. It is my normal day to normally do spiritual videos in my normal place. So I am in the normal place on the normal day, drinking the normal juice. The juice isn't normal. I usually have my soda with me, but today I wanted to have something different, so I got some juice. It's been raining a lot today, which is cool. I like the rain. It was weird because this morning I woke up and it wasn't raining. It was like really nice and peaceful and um, yeah, but now it's raining. But I like that. It's good. I think that's kind of the point of winter in general for me is like the change and flow energy of like letting go of past things and starting to realign myself to like other things in the future that are coming up for like next year or whatever. That seems to be my normal like November December thing is like I start assessing the whole year, and kind of just like getting more like I don't know okay with everything. Yeah, I think that's healthy. Occasionally to just like go through stuff and like become okay with it. To just say that hey, there's a lot of things in life that like we can't control. We can't go back and we can't change things that happened already. We can apologize for them. We can acknowledge things. We can reach out to people and like clarify things if there was miscommunications and stuff. But for the most part, like 99% of like the stuff that I go crazy with is all like in my mind and isn't even real, and therefore it's more about like letting go of all of that, like, and just kind of living today forward each day, which seems easy and like really logical, but you'd be surprised how few people like can do that consistently, because it gets really easy to get caught up both in like stuck about stuff that was going on yesterday or worried about stuff that's going to happen tomorrow. And I think for me it's like when I'm looking at tomorrow, I always want to be in an optimistic, like positive mind space. So I don't tend to like worry about tomorrows. I used to, and this is why I didn't sleep very much in the past. So like as soon as I learned to be positive about the way I perceived tomorrow, in however long of tomorrow we're talking, like literal tomorrow or like next year or like my next life, I had to learn to be positive with that, to basically look at it from a point of view of optimism. Like, if tomorrow was Christmas and you were a little kid, right? How would you feel about the word tomorrow, right? If it's like 9 o'clock at night and tomorrow morning is Christmas morning and you're a kid, right? And somebody says, how do you feel about tomorrow? That feeling of excitement, of so many unknowns, all these gifts that you don't know what's going to happen, assuming that you have that experience. Most of us do in some form or another. But the point is, if you treated your future that way, of like every day was like Christmas and every single experience that you had was like a gift that you got to unwrap and open, and instead of looking at each thing that's happening to you as why is this happening to me, you would see all of these things as gifts that were given to you, usually by yourself, by you, to make sure that you experience certain things and learn certain lessons. Yeah, so you have to kind of go into the future mindset as if tomorrow is always Christmas, and everything that happens to you, those are the gifts. Yeah, so be more grateful, and imagine if somebody gave you a gift and you opened it, you wouldn't look at that person and go, why did you do this? This is terrible. Like, sometimes a gift, you just have to thank someone, and you have to look at like situations in your life that way. Just thank the universe for bringing you the gift of whatever situations you're having, so that you can face yourself, so you have a reason to stop looking at, like, to stop being bored with life and to actually go deep and do some changing and do some like soul searching. I find that if you just tune everything out, watch TV and live and just go to work, go home, watch TV, go to work, go home, watch TV, like, I don't know. I feel like it's ignoring a lot of stuff. I don't necessarily think people that can live that way are happy. And I don't think anybody watching these videos lives that way or can anymore. Maybe in the past, I did in the past. I watched a lot of TV. A lot of news too. I still watch a lot of things. I don't tune out my self-awareness anymore. Like, if I have a day where like stuff has kind of got to me, or like I'm picked up a lot of like stress or things, I don't like go home and then turn all that off and just like watch TV and like zone out. Like, I work through it. I go home and I sit there and I ponder it, and I'll play like a video game or something where I I'm working through something else, but subconsciously, it's giving me time to process and work through what happened during that day. That way, each day, like when I go to bed, I have closure. Like, I literally go through this whole process in my mind where every person that I know, every person, it's like counting sheep. It helps me fall asleep because I know people. Every person that I've interacted with, kind of like for at least like a consistency, like all my family members, anybody that I've interacted with, like at least like once a week. If somebody talks to me once a week or interacts with me that consistently, then they're in this list where I have to go through and basically shake their hand and say like whatever we had, like whatever conversations we've had in the past, whatever, you know, anything negative, anything at all that has like a negative vibration to it, I'm letting go of that. I'm shaking the hand and kind of just being like, I'm okay, no harm, no foul, and tomorrow morning everything's fresh. Like every relationship with every individual in my life is fresh every day. So if somebody offended me yesterday, because I'm not easily offended, but occasionally people can offend me inadvertently, without realizing it, you know, and I tend to not stop and like tell people when I'm offended, because I almost never know until like 2 hours later when I'm like, oh, like my energy was doing a thing and then this thing happened and then my energy went over here, and I'm like, okay, something offended me in this little zone, which is good because I need to work on that. I don't like to let people know often when they offend me if it's 90% of the time something where I misinterpret something or I overinterpret. But that's kind of going off the radar of what I was talking about. No, that's good though, because we're kind of like flowing with the channel of this. So the information kind of actually goes right on the radar of what we were talking about. Either way, by closing the door each night to all of these people and basically saying that, hey, I'm good, we're good, everything's fine, don't worry about it, I have no hard feelings to you. If you have hard feelings to me, you know, and you're not letting me know about it, that's on you, like, whatever. But I'm good, you know? And I think by doing that every single day and having that kind of closure, and only like, I don't know, by basically going into each morning thinking that it's a brand new day and these are all brand new people, and everybody has the ability to surprise even themselves every single day. So, I don't know, that's important. Another thing I wanted to mention, and this is something that like my guides kind of gave me randomly, like as I was thinking about people. Somebody like the other day, I don't know, was like in front of me in line at I think a grocery store or somewhere I was at, and they were kind of like, they give off a really weird energy and it made me very uncomfortable. And I thought about it a little bit more, and then I kind of had like a moment where it was like, what if it was that person's worst day? You know? Like, I had a day once, I remember, I had a day once, this wasn't my worst day, but this is the one that came to mind earlier when I was thinking about this, where I had to wait at the DMV in line for hours. This was down in California, and I had waited in line, I had taken care of whatever it was I had taken care of, had to pay something, and then something had to be like signed and a thing. I don't even remember what it was for. It was something weird or silly, but I had to go through this whole process. It took like 4 or 5 hours, probably 6 actually now that I think about it. Yeah, but I went out to my car afterwards and I had gotten a parking ticket because it was like only a 3-hour time limit parking thing or something like that. And that was just like one of those days where like after being in line all day with all these people that were all frustrated, giving off all that energy, I wasn't very aware of how much of an empath I was. I didn't carry crystals. Like that plus then the parking ticket. So I don't know what I was like the rest of that day. So if I was like at a restaurant or at a grocery store or anywhere else and somebody was around me, they must have gotten an energy of like, dude, you know, because I was not happy for the rest of that day. So next time somebody like triggers me or I sense that energy off somebody, I just have to remind myself that maybe this is like their worst day, you know, and I can't hold that as like my judgment of who they are or like my interpretation of who they are. And then I started expanding that to like my friends and my family and realizing maybe all the things that used to bother me or the conversations that I've had that triggered me was just coming from like their worst day, you know, and their reaction to one of their worst days they're having. And it's like, when you think about it like that, it's easier to kind of forgive people because we've all had our worst day where we were not at our best and we were not treating people around us well and we were, you know, basically very self-involved. We've all been there, and I catch myself doing that sometimes too. So, yeah, I'm working on that. I'm trying to not get so triggered by people, especially during the holiday season. People are under a lot of stress and a lot of pressure, and I have to be more respectful of that and realize that maybe they're having their worst day. So, yeah, that's what we got to talk about today. Thank you guys all for watching, anyone who watches. I appreciate it. If anybody has any random topics or thoughts or whatever that they'd like me to discuss, you know, mention it. Like, either reach out to me privately or, in the comments or whatever. Because I'm interested in, like, seeing if anybody has something that comes to their mind. Like, if I say this and something comes to your mind of like, oh, I wish Brandon would talk about blank, tell me that blank, and I will. I will literally just pose it to the universe and see what comes back. You never know, man. Alright, have a very good day, enjoy wherever you are, whatever you're doing, have fun with it, but try to be aware of the people around you, and, try to make the day enjoyable for everyone, not just yourself. So, thank you. Bye, people.